What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. NFL Week 2 is here. I'm joined by the odds maker, Sean Kerner. I'm joined by Jill Gallant, and Sean's dogs have to go to the vet, so I'm gonna hurry this up. We're gonna get right into it. Had a couple of hits last week: Trey Tucker, Jonnu Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Zach Charbonnet. So if you want some of these bets this week, just look for the quick slip link in the episode description, in the video description as well, or go to actionnetwork.com/bet. Now, Sean, what's going on? Hope the dogs are all good. You got Jacksonville at Cincinnati, a game that I like the over in. So it's a good one to start off.
Yeah, the dogs are good. Maybe that's a good sign for the Commanders tonight, plus 3.5. But I was hitting touchdown bets on here at 4-1 or greater at a higher rate than coin flip props in week 1 for me. So
Right.
I'm loving this format, loving having Jill join us. So pumped for the week 2 one.
Yeah, no, let's go. I'm Jacksonville, Cincinnati, dude. We're already in the game. We're already in
Get after it.
You're behind in the outline, Kerner.
You know what?
Stop thinking about the dogs.
Hey, you're the one that brought him up. Okay, Raybon, I'm going to steal your guy from last week that didn't score. But I thought it was a great read, and it's Trevor Lawrence plus 550 over at BetMGM right now. He had kind of a weak debut. You and I both talked about that, but I think he still has a chance to eventually see that tush push play you mentioned. They've been practicing, and they just traded away arguably their best short yardage back in Tank Bigsby. So maybe that kind of opens up the door for them to explore things like using Lawrence in the tush push. But Lawrence himself has always just been sneaky when it comes to his rushing upside, and his scramble rate was actually up 2% in week 1. I know it's a small sample size, but it's an encouraging one for this market. So I think plus 550 is a bit too high. I have it still around like 4-1. So I think the run it back play here should be a good one. And then on the other side, going back to the guy I think I brought up like 10 times on this pod last year, and it's Noah Fant of the Bengals at 5-1. Sure enough, he went through that big, long scoring drought, and in his first game with the Bengals, he scores a touchdown. I think his stat line of 4 catches for 26 yards and a touchdown is kind of fluky because he saw, way less playing time than he saw when he was in Seattle. He had a 48% routes run rate, which is way lower than we'd expect, but that was still the most of any of the Bengals, 7 tight ends. So I think when it comes to Fant, he's going to be out there probably in like the goal to go situations. They're going to run more 2 tight end personnel. He was in that formation for most of the game in his debut. So I like his chances here to, double up and score another touchdown this week, especially, at 5-1 odds. And, he's not seeing as much playing time, but there's more passing touchdowns to go around on the Bengals. So I like his upside in this market here.
Yeah, and most importantly, Tanner Hudson did not play a snap on offense, I believe, even though he was active. So Noah Fant is taking over that full Eric All role in that Bengal offense. And yeah, I think this could be a high scoring game. I know both of these teams had kind of underwhelming totals in week 1, but I think they get back to it. All right, Jill, what's going on, man? Patriots at the Miami disasters, I guess you could call them. That's what it feels like right now. So where are you going on New England side, and then who you got for Miami?
Yeah, for New England, I went with Kayshon Boutte. And I'll be saying this right now. If Daniel Jones is carving up your secondary, like, it could get way worse. So you could be in big trouble defensively. So for me, what it came down to is I was looking at both Demario Douglas or Kayshon Boutte here. But in this spot, I went with Boutte because he's more of a deep threat than Douglas has been. More ADOT, just better yards per route run. And the Dolphins, like I said, they didn't really improve their secondary effect. They kind of downgraded, and they were bottom 5 versus the deep ball and defensive DVOA last year. I saw a little bit more of that in week 1, even though the Colts didn't really need to throw too much. So again, I think Drake May and the Pats passing offense, this is actually a game where I think they could rebound compared to what we saw against the Raiders last week. Now on the Dolphins side, Raybon, we got to go with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine here. I'm taking him again. 8 touchdowns last year. He was the most profitable anytime touchdown scorer last year at 50 units if you would just bet 1 unit on every game that he played. And I think the thing, too, that I'm a little worried about from a Dolphins standpoint is Jalen Waddle is just made of glass. Like, I know that he came back, but there's at least one or two times a game where I don't know if he's going to get up. And then, he could be still dealing with a shoulder injury. So if the Dolphins get in the red zone, I think the Pats will try to stop Tyreek and Achane. I think that'll leave more opportunities for Westbrook Akine, especially at plus 700.
If the Dolphins get in the red zone.
Yeah, if.
Yeah, Pop Douglas, you mentioned Butte. Pop Douglas, 39 routes run, -2 yards. That is negative yards per route run, and somehow got a touchdown. It's one of the most interesting stat. Well, that's Javonte Williams-esque right there. So, yeah, I like Kayshon Butte. Might emerge as that top Pats receiver when it's all said and done. Oh, man. David Payne just giving me the worst games yet again. I got Niners at the Saints. This one, the total's down to about 40.5 with the Niners favored by 3. You leave me no choice, David. I got to go with Christian McCaffrey here, -165. He is the best value I have according to my projections, even though he's a little juiced up over even. And that's because he led all running backs in red zone carries in week 1, somehow got 8. Tied for the league lead in red zone routes. And also tied for the league lead in red zone targets and red zone catches. He's going to be their entire offense this week. No Brock Purdy, no George Kittle. Jennings already banged up and missed a lot of practice time in the offseason. So it's going to be the Christian McCaffrey show. No need to get fancy there. New Orleans, I think, is going to be a little more fun, a little more wide open. I'm going with Brandon Cooks at 7-1. He had an 86% route rate in week 1. Also had a 57% red zone route rate. And they tried Vele on a snap. That's why Cooks wasn't up at, like 100. They missed him in the red zone. They also tried Olave, Shaheed, and Juwan Johnson combined 4 times. So Johnson, Shaheed, Vele, Olave, the other 4 not top receivers, 5 targets in the red zone, 0 catches. So I think it's about time they give Brandon Cooks a better shot here with the actual target in the red zone. So going with him at 7-1. I think he's undervalued based on just the amount of routes that he's running in these games. All right. Cleveland at Baltimore. Sean Kerner, big spread for the Ravens.
Yeah.
We know what will happen. They'll go up big, and then the Browns will score like 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So who's going to score one of them?
Well, you know where I'm going with the Browns. Our guy, Harold Fannin Jr. at 4-1 right now. Saw a really big role in his NFL debut, despite David Njoku still there. He actually tied for second on the team with a 24% first read rate. And Njoku is all the way down at 8%. So they're clearly scheming up plays, or, Joe Flacco's looking the rookie's way more than Njoku already. So I want to buy in on Fannin Jr. early and often. So I'm taking him at 4-1. Like you said, this could be, a garbage time score late in the game. I don't care when it is, but it's going to happen this week. And yeah, the Ravens, I got to get creative here. I'm going to go with Rasheen Ali at 16-1. The Ravens could easily blow the Browns out. Who the hell knows if they're going to blow the lead this time, but I think more times than not, we'll see garbage time here. And last week, Keaton Mitchell was actually a healthy scratch. So Rasheen Ali, saw some of the mop-up duty before they realized, the game was still in reach. And Justice Hill, he's the backup, but he gets starter treatment. He's not going to be out there mop-up time. So it could be all Ali out there if Mitchell's a healthy scratch again. So I like Ali at, 16-1. Also like him to score the last touchdown at 50-1. I think that's a really sharp angle.
Ooh, I like that one.
And I'll just, because I am the inactive whisperer, kind of.
Yeah.
There is a chance because of all the fuck shit that happened. They want like Mitchell active to take some of that late game stuff. So I think there's a chance you could have Mitchell active over Ali, and because they could just play the same role. But if that's the case, I think they'll be around the same odds. So I would just everything you said about Ali, just to apply it to Mitchell.
You nailed the like Jaden Blue or Miles Sanders. So I mean, what you could do is bet on both. Maybe the last touchdown score market, and then the one that's inactive, you get your money back. So love that idea. Yeah.
Unless for some reason, if they don't elevate Zaire Mitchell-Payton again, and like that and like Ricard plays, that there could be some. But yeah, I think it's an early game, right? So one way or another, we'll kind of know what's going on. All right, Jill, Giants at the Cowboys, Giants. I mean, how many freaking shots did they have in close last week? And yes, it was just blown play after blown play. Like everybody, I think they even tried the rookie Scatterboo for a carry that got stuffed in close. So now it's time for new week. Where you going, G-Men and Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Theo Johnson again because on the surface, the obvious choice is probably Malik Neighbors, but just around plus 150, it's just not enough value for me in this spot. But specifically the Cowboys, they did what I thought they were going to do with Matt Eberflus as defensive coordinator, went to that heavy zone approach. They ended up playing the most zone of any team in week one. And Theo Johnson has actually seen his metrics as he's very limited sample. But again, last year did play well against zone, and he's played over 70% of snaps in week one. We saw in week one as well, the Eagles just peppered Dallas Goedert over and over again because the Cowboys did whatever they could to try to just shut down A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And Russell Wilson, again, I'm not a big believer in him anymore, but I think he could be a big target for Russ in the end zone because we saw Russ last year with the Steelers to close the season. He targeted Pat Freiermuth like I don't want to say, but like a mother. And so 4 touchdowns over the final 6 games of the regular season for Pat Freiermuth. And I think that will continue with Theo Johnson, especially around the 4-1 range. I wouldn't take it any lower than 4-1. On the Cowboys side, I'm going back to Kevontae Turpin. I mean, the usage in week one, pretty encouraging, guys. Like 2 targets, 2 carries. I think he's taken the 3rd wide receiver role over Jalen Tolbert at this point. And the Giants, I mean, they played a ton of man coverage in week one, a lot of cover one as well, which usually sets up good for CeeDee Lamb. But it was actually Turpin last year who led the Cowboys in yards per route run versus man defenses. And he had a higher target share than Jake Ferguson and Brandon Cooks when he was on the team as well. So I think Kevontae Turpin is who I'm looking at anything over 4-1. Fun fact about Turpin as well, he's been the most profitable anytime touchdown scorer for the Cowboys in each of the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I love me some Kevontae Turpin. He's super fast. Of course, he can run away from man coverage. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, when it comes to Theo Johnson, tight ends tend to do better against zone coverage in general. Zone coverage, you tend to play that. It's a little more safer, more guys deep. Tends to hurt the wide receiver production more so, and tight ends get a boost. So like those. Bears at the Detroit Lions. Bears looked a mess last week after that first couple drives. I'm gonna go with Olamide Zaccheaus at 4-1. He is a guy who a lot of people in the fantasy community are probably not too happy with because he's blocking Luther Burden the third from playing more. But Zaccheaus, he's had a great camp. Looked great in week one, and he had he was one of the two players on the Bears with a red zone target. And we've heard that all summer that him and Caleb have had good chemistry there. So he had a 59 to 23% edge in total routes run over Luther Burden per dropback. So like Zaccheaus at 4-1 for the Bears, and then Isaac Tesslaw for the Detroit Lions at plus 495. Yeah, right? There you go. I think you hit on him last week. And and listen, so he played 3 snaps. 100% of those snaps came in the red zone. He had a touchdown on those 3 snaps. And the coaches then, after the game, said he'll play more going forward, which, Khalif Raymond pretty much played every other snap at the 3rd wide receiver spot, which I kind of hinted at. I knew he was playing more, didn't realize he would play that much, but it could flip this week. You could see Tesslaw play, 75, 80% of the snaps, and Raymond go back to his usual 20%, 25% that he was playing last year. So I want to buy in on this guy again early. I still think he's priced too low here at plus 495. So 2 of the best names in the books, Olamide Zaccheaus and Isaac Tesslaw in this Bears-Lions matchup. Bills at the much improved looking Jets. I thought the Tanner Engstrand's definitely winning that versus Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson. Tanner Engstrand's offense looked amazing, whereas the other 2 looked completely lost. And that goes even deeper into the all-22, Kerner. So who do I can we'll start with the Bills, but then you can talk to me about the Jets.
Yeah, the Bills. I love Josh Palmer here, or as he is in my spreadsheet, Joshua Palmer at plus 440 over at FanDuel. He operated as a top 3 wide receiver as expected. Mostly saw downfield throws, which I expected. He led all wideouts with a 13-yard ADOT. And the thing with the Bills is once they get in the goal to go situations, it's going to be either Josh Allen or James Cook getting the score. Or, if they throw somebody, it'll be Dawson Knox or Dalton Kincaid. I mean, Keon Coleman's touchdown was actually a target to Kincaid that he dropped. So I think Josh Palmer has a sneaky way of scoring touchdowns, which is he can score outside of the red zone with these deeper outs, sort of, the Gabe Davis role. So I like him here at plus 440. And on the other side, usually Bills games, I give out Ty Johnson if they're the underdog or like it's going to be a close game. But they're big favorites here. So I'm going to go with Tyler Johnson of the Jets. He's 9-1 right now. He operated as the clear number 3 wide receiver on this team. We had no idea what was going on heading into the game. Alan Lazard was a healthy scratch. I think Tyler Johnson was on the practice squad. They called him up and, he was their starting slot guy. So I think he has some upside here. Like you said, the offense did look way better than I expected. And Josh Reynolds and Mason Taylor popped up on the injury report. So I think grabbing Tyler Johnson right now at 9-1 makes sense. Just in case, one or both those guys go out, he's going to see, additional opportunity either way.
Yeah, man. Tyler Johnson, he just got promoted. So he's on the roster now. I think in week 1 he was actually call up. So they definitely look like they're going to stick with him there. Yeah, Josh Palmer, Joshua Palmer, Josh Palmer Sr. He's got a lot of names. All right, Jill. This is another ugly one. Seahawks at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers favored by 3, total 40.5.
Yeah, I hated this game for touchdowns. I have no problem being up front. There's not every game is Bills Ravens, right? So like I think
Steelers only had 64 points in their 66 points in their game last week.
Yeah, the game had no touchdown. They scored 7 touchdowns.
Well, I have a touchdown bet, but in protest, I am going to continue the trend of Steelers no touchdown score. So I'm going to do a no touchdown score bet. It's around 80-1. And I just think Aaron Rodgers is just not going to be as efficient as he was in week 1 because the Seahawks, I think their defense is legit. Like they generated the most pressure of all 32 teams in week 1. And I think the Seahawks too, I think they're going to lean more into the run game. That's going to eat up a ton of clock. And I think the Steelers too, from an offensive standpoint, they've already kind of conceded that if they get within 50 yards, they have no problem saying, oh, we didn't convert on 3rd down. Let's just let Boswell kick it for 3 points. So I think right now, no touchdown would be my favorite bet of that game. But if I did have to bet an anytime touchdown, I think I would just take Sam Darnold, honestly, because we just watched Justin Fields run for 2 touchdowns against them last week. He's around plus 900. He did not look comfortable pushing the ball downfield at all. So, and then, of course, the Seahawks, I think, again, they're going to lean more into that run-heavy approach. But right now, there's not a ton of value on, like, Zach Charbonnet or Kenneth Walker. Like, Charbo at 4-1, I like. But when he's down to, like, plus 250, it just doesn't feel as good. So, yeah, I just take Darnold at this price at 9-1 and just hope that he remembers that he can run the ball.
There's always value on Charbonnet, just so you know.
Always. And
always.
My guy, Kenny G. Kenny G. He's on about plus 290. Kenny Gainwell, the lead back for the Steelers. And our guy Torrey Horton. Man, Jill, you're just hating on our guys here. I feel like
I like Kenneth Gainwell, but he was at like 6-1 when the odds opened up. Now he's down around plus 250, which is
so he's getting steamed because he's gonna get in the end zone.
Jalen Warren 2.0. You don't take that stuff below plus 300. At least that's on my book.
Ah, man. Yeah, I mean, you've been doing this longer than me. I'm not price sensitive at all when it comes to touchdowns. So Kenny G's getting in the end zone. All right. Darnold and no touchdown at 80-1 and Darnold at 9-1. Woo. All right. I mean, hey, this is another ugly one here. Rams at Titans. I mean, maybe it'll be fun. But I like the touchdown odds for this game. Rams, Davis. I almost said Dennis Allen, the coordinator of the Bears. Whoa. Davis Allen, touchdown scorer of last week. Was surprised that he played as much as he did. He was the clear 4th tight end. He was the only tight end to play, I believe, in the preseason for the Rams until, I think Ferguson played a little, but Higbee and Parkinson really didn't suit up as much. And yet there Allen was 4th on the team in red zone snaps, one of the 2 Rams to get a red zone target, and he scored on it. And saw Parkinson pop up on the injury report this week. So I think Allen's role may continue, in the red zone. That seemed to be kind of his specialty. And Higbee had a specific role, and it wasn't really down there in scoring position. So like Allen at 8-1, we got to kind of get ahead of this potential, four-headed tight end monster in the specific usage here. And then on the other side, You got kind of a similar situation. Chigakonkwo played more snaps than we usually see him play. I think he had a route rate over 80%. However, rookie tight end Gunnar Helm, who I like at 13-1 to score, led the team in red zone snaps. So I'm lying. He is tied for the lead because a couple other guys got 5. But Okonkwo, 0 red zone snaps. Helm, 5. That was Helm's first game. He is a rookie tight end, but he had a very good preseason, very good camp. So both of these teams are kind of using younger guys in place of their vets in the red zone. We'll see if that continues. We only have 1 week of data, but this could be the most profitable time to buy in on these trends. So I love me some Gunnar Helm at 13-1. I think this should be probably half that in terms of his odds. So big delta there, but like Helm a lot, and like him just going forward as well. I think he's gonna kind of pop up and be more involved as the year goes ahead. But Broncos at the Indianapolis Colts. Sean Kerner, another Daniel Jones spot. Bo Nix. I told you we couldn't trust him in cash games.
Yeah. Whew, thank God we didn't go that route. Holy smokes. Well, yeah, like if I'm going to attack the Broncos here, I'm going with Marvin Mims at plus 350 over at FanDuel. He had a disappointing week 1, only 3 catches, 12 yards. Very disappointing for him after just going off in the final few games to end last season. Was hoping that would kind of spill over into this year, but it was sort of a 2-3-way committee behind Cortland Sutton at wideout. And Sean Payton can mix things up any given week. So I would imagine Mims would be the more likely guy to see more snaps going forward. And he's also the guy that, they would scheme up, a design run or two. So it's an additional path for him, to find the end zone. The plus 350 price, they're adjusting the rough week 1. My projections are adjusting to the rough week 1, and I'm still getting him at plus 270. So I think he's offering some value here. And with the Colts, I got to go with the guy I've been gushing about all week. He's already my top 5. It's rookie Tyler Warren at plus 260 at FanDuel. He had one of the most impressive debuts of week 1 and just that I can recall. 7 catches, 76 yards, had the underlying usage to back it up. I think he's going to be a stud right out of the gate here. And he nearly had a touchdown on an end zone target that he almost made an amazing one-handed catch. It wasn't really his fault or Daniel Jones' fault, but he's getting end zone targets already. Love his price here. He also had, 1 carry for 3 yards. They used him in short yard situations at Penn State. Not saying they need to do that with Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones here, but you never know. It's just another path for him in this market. So I like him at plus 260 here.
Yeah, Tyler Warren looked really good in week 1 and 7 catches. I mean, it's only a matter of time before he gets in the end zone.
Sean, what book did you get Tyler Warren at? Again, sorry.
FanDuel.
Okay. Because I think I'm seeing a plus 310 right now at Bet365.
Oh
sorry. But I mean, just more value for Tyler Warren. Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to make sure if anybody was looking to get on Tyler Warren, because I bet him myself. If you can get him over 3-1, that's amazing odds.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Panthers at the Cardinals. Jill, who you got?
Yeah, this one's rough. I went with both quarterbacks. I took Kyler Murray and Bryce Young. Kyler Murray, he ran 7 times in week 1. He had 3 design scrambles, which I liked. And I don't think he's going to see a lot of pass rush from the Panthers because the Saints, they were top 5 in pressure rate per dropback. They were pretty much in his face pretty much the whole game, whereas this Panthers run defense, too, it did not look good in the opener. Over 200 yards allowed to the Jags. And I know that they kind of kept Trevor Lawrence mostly in check from a passing standpoint. I think a lot of that was more of the start and stop because of that delay. I don't really want to take too much away from that, but I just think that if the Cardinals get inside the 5-yard line, the Panthers, they're going to panic, and they're going to try to cover Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. I could easily see Kyler just doing one of those jog scampers where he just casually walks into the end zone. And Bryce Young, I just think from a Panthers standpoint, I think Young is really the only choice you can make. This passing game, I'm not taking Ted McMillan at less than plus 200. This passing game looks anemic, man, and the run defense isn't great either. So would not surprise me if the Panthers are pretty much trailing for most of the game. Bryce Young, he did have 4 scrambles in week 1. A lot of that was from that Jaguars pass rush. I think he's going to have to scramble even more. So he's around 5-1 to score an anytime touchdown, and Kyler Murray is around plus 230.
Yeah, I actually do like Tet this week. I looked it up, and number one pick wide receivers, week 2, big touchdown week for top picks, especially in the first half of the first round. So like Hunter, Tet, that's those are guys I think get in the end zone this week. But Kyler and Bryce, Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs, rematch of the Super Bowl. AJ Brown, squeaky wheel, plus 180. The ex-receiver for the Chargers, Quentin Johnson, 2 touchdowns last week, simple. And then Kareem Hunt for the Kansas City Chiefs, plus 270. Outside the red zone, Pacheco, 27 snaps, Hunt 19. Inside the red zone, Hunt 4, Pacheco 4. So, and Hunt 4 routes to 2 in the red zone over Pacheco. And, I saw some people kind of surprised that, Pacheco wasn't in there on some of the, goal line work and stuff like that. That's the usual thing for the Chiefs. They don't really, he's not been a great goal line back. So, we didn't really see much of, actual runs down there, but if they do, I expect it to be Kareem Hunt. That we saw him get the first crack at the goal line work in the preseason dress rehearsal game, even though Pacheco ended up scoring coming back in. So yeah, Kareem Hunt, I think, is undervalued for an anytime touchdown at plus 270. The NFL season, it's officially here, and to get the most out of the award-winning Action app, you want to be an Action Pro subscriber. Only Pro subscribers get real-time pick alerts from experts like Sean Kerner, Jill Gallant, myself, the entire Action team. Plus, you can access our Pro projections powered by Kerner and our predictive analytics team. And we've got a special offer. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro and get $20 off the annual price with the promo code POD20. That's POD20 for $20 off an annual sub to Action Pro. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use promo. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use promo code POD20 to get $20 off a year of Action Pro. Also, Action is relaunching the Favorites podcast with my guy Stuckey. It's also got Brandon Kravitz and Kendra Middleton. New episodes dropping every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Go check them out. Before we get into the Sunday night and Monday night, we'll do an anytime touchdown for Parlay Express, which you can follow in the Action app. Just give me your favorite guy from this slate, Kerner.
I'm gonna go with Harold Fannin Jr. at 4-1.
Joe.
I'm gonna go with Kyler Murray plus 230.
I'll go with AJ Brown at plus 180. All right, so that would be about plus 4,500 if you parlay Fannin Jr., Kyler, and AJ Brown anytime touchdown. So check that out and be sure to follow the Parlay Express account in the Action Network app. Now we'll get into the primetime games. We got 3 this week. Doubleheader on Monday Night Football. But first, Sunday Night Football. The Atlanta Falcons at the Minnesota Vikings. Kerner, what do you like for the in this game?
I'm going to go Kyle Pitts plus 310 at DraftKings. It's always a running joke, but maybe this is the year Pitts finally breaks out. He looked great in week 1, 7 catches, 59 yards. He's still only 24. So, I mean, there still is hope he can actually break out. Has a ton of pass catching upside. And, both Drake London and Darnell Mooney are dealing with shoulder injuries. So good spot, for him to step up and I think invest in him here at plus 310.
Oh, yeah. It was just like, shout out to my guy Stuckey. I was like, yeah, I'm betting the Falcons. They don't need Mooney in week 1. And then, of course, Kadaro Hodge just lets a short touchdown go right over his head. And Casey Washington,
brutal.
Like another short touchdown, just gets popped right as he's about to catch the ball. So just a comedy of errors for like the non. Yeah, I mean,
that's ridiculous.
I knew if it got to that point.
Yeah.
Believe me, I took the Falcons again this week, but only because they're over a field goal. So who cannot hurt me?
Well, it's Koo versus Reichert. Are you sure you want to make that bet?
Hey, we got Romo now. We got Parker Romo on the ready to go.
Okay.
They signed him this week, so hopefully,
nice.
One can only hope. But Jill, who do you like in this game? And then I'll go with one as well, and we can parlay this one too.
Yeah, I'm going to add JJ McCarthy. He's around plus 400. I just think the Falcons are going to pose a bit of a different challenge in the red zone than what the Bears were doing. And also another reason why I like it is just the odds, given that Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, they're both around like plus 150 or lower. So I think they're still going to lean more into that rushing attack. And if we can get JJ at 4-1 or better, I'll add that one.
All right. Sean, you know who I'm going with. Joe, you might know too. It's
yeah.
Jalen Naylor. It's Jalen Naylor.
Oh, yeah.
It's Jalen Naylor. Plus 425 at DraftKings. He played in all of the 2 wide sets. He only had 1 catch, and he shouldn't have had it. It was just bad defense near the end of the half. But he's a guy who he's not going to be a high volume catcher of the football. He's going to be a high volume touchdown scorer. We saw that last season about a half dozen times, got in the end zone there despite playing that 3rd wide receiver role for much of the season. So like his odds, I think he's undervalued. I don't think people realize he's still a full-time guy for another 2 weeks until Addison gets back, and then we'll see how they divvy up the snaps. But if you parlay Pitts at plus 310, McCarthy at 4-1, and Naylor at plus 425, you get a plus 10,000. So
100 to 1.
Yeah, 100 to 1. Yeah. 100 to 1. It's actually a little more than that if you can get those, if you get all of those odds. So yeah, this is a juicy one. We'll see how it plays out, but I don't think it can lose. It's Jalen Naylor's got to get in. JJ McCarthy. I mean, come on. We're not talking about Young Wei Koo here. He's not involved in this. So all right, 2 more games. Doubleheader. Monday Night Football. Bucks at the Houston Texans. Curtis, start us off.
Dalton Schultz plus 240. Cade Stover really ate into his usage quite a bit in week 1. But Stover also, unfortunately, broke his foot, so he's now on the IR. So this week, Schultz is going to be much more of a full-time tight end. So I think it's a sneaky, time to buy low on him here at plus 240.
Yeah, I looked it up. When Stover was out a couple games down the stretch last year, I think it was week 15, 16 for the Texans, Dalton Schultz had a 91% route rate in one of the games and an 84% in the other one. So it's about 87.5 in case you want to do it over-under on his route rate for this week. But yeah, that's a big step up, about 25% step up from what he was in week 1. Jill, you're going with a guy who gets routes, but I don't know if Baker Mayfield knows he's out there sometimes.
Well, I think he's going to have to look for him because you don't want to play with those Texans corners. Like I don't want any part of Mike Evans or Emeka Ibuka in this game. And I think Cade Otton at plus 350 is good for a bounce back spot here. And for what it's worth, Texans, they only allowed 1 passing touchdown in week 1. Who was it to? It was to a tight end, your guy, Davis Allen. So I'm going to take Cade Otton here at plus 350.
All right, I'm going to go back to the well with the Jaden Higgins, the rookie. And he had a kind of middling first game. Like he didn't, he was, I think 4th or 5th on the team in routes run. Everyone was running between like 40 and 60%. Xavier Hutchinson and Justin Watson were mixing in just, a lot of Michael Bandy type guys in there. But I'm gonna go Higgins because he was one of 3 Texans to run multiple red zone routes despite the middling snap counts for all the receivers. So I do think that makes sense as a kind of specific role for him if he's not ready to kind of get to be a full-time player, which they obviously don't think he is. So I think he's undervalued here just because they're kind of pricing him as if he's like that halftime player, which in the red zone he is running all the routes at least he has to date. So and he's got the body type to come down one in the end zone. So give me Higgins at plus 360. You parlay Schultz 240, Otten at 350, and Higgins at 360. You get plus 7,000 or 70 to 1. So this one, I mean, not as much of a short thing as 100 to 1 up above for that Sunday night game. Well, I'm just kidding, but we'll see. We'll see if we can get one of these. Monday night, part 2, Chargers off some long rest, going up against the 1-0 Vegas Raiders. So you got everyone's 1-0 in the West except the Kansas City Chiefs. So this could be a pivotal game here, Kerner. Who you got?
I'm going Justin Herbert at plus 475. The Chargers had the 2nd highest pass rate over expected in week 1, which means we're probably going to see more Justin Herbert dropbacks going forward. That's kind of what I was suspecting based on their second half usage of him last season. And his scramble rate was way up 6% in the first game of the season. That combined with the higher dropback rates, perfect for this market. He's going to be more likely to run it in himself. And you got to imagine, Madison Beer probably has him feel a little more frisky and spry right now. So maybe that's why the scramble rate's up. But love Herbert here at plus 475.
Jill, can you match Herbert's frisky and spryness with your pick?
I mean, Quentin Johnston looked pretty frisky in week one, and the fact that like it didn't really drop too much, like 2 touchdowns in week one, plus 350. Now we're around plus 280. I thought he was electric in that game, and another pretty solid matchup for week 2 versus the Raiders with Pete Carroll. They kind of lean more into that zone approach, played at 4th highest rate. Last year, Quentin Johnston, he led the NFL with 8 receiving touchdowns versus zone. So for me, I think there's a lot of upside here for Quentin Johnston at plus 280.
Yeah, he would great. Like in fantasy, I'm selling him, but right now, yeah, like his touchdown rate is probably undervalued because I don't think the market expected him to be like a 90% route kind of guy, and that's what he was.
I'll say.
I know, right? All right. Speaking of snap counts, I gotta go with Ashton Genty, minus 120. One of 8 players to get 100% of his team's red zone carries in week 1. Played a ton of snaps at running back. The yards per carry wasn't there. It was below the Javonte 3.6 Mendoza line.
Mendoza line.
Yeah. But that's probably, I mean, most people probably don't even know it's the Mendoza line. I don't even know who is the Mendoza. I don't even know who Mendoza is.
But some guy, Mendoza, I forgot his first name, but he hit lifetime averages 200.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Mario Mendoza. Yeah,
there we go.
This is some boomer shit. All right. Anyway, Javonte Williams will one day be some millennial shit. It was his 3.6, but I digress. Ashton Genty, he's going to get all the carries down in there. I still think you can run on the Chargers. The Chiefs, I mean, their running game was a joke, so we didn't really see that play out. But the Chiefs also don't really throw down. I mean, don't really run down in the red zone, which I think the Raiders with Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll more likely to do. They'll slam Ashton Genty against the wall until he gets in there again. So like him at minus 120. I could see him being one of those like minus 180, minus 200 guys by the time the season's all said and done up there with McCaffrey and Taylor. Because I mean, who else is the Raiders had 362 yards of passing offense, and did they who got in the end zone for them in the receiving game? Like it was like all these yards and not many touchdowns there. So got to go. We know. I know the guy. I know. Shout out to Nick Giffen. It was Trey Tucker, but that is the point. All these receiving yards, and Trey Tucker is their one guy. So rushing yards, Ashton Genty had like 38 yards, and he got in the end zones. And I think that kind of usage continues. You parlay Herbert at plus 475, Johnson at plus 280, Genty at minus 120. Get around a 40-1 3-way parlay. And as I mentioned, we'll add these touchdown parlays to the Parlay Express account in the Action Network app as well. So be sure to follow Parlay Express if you have not already. And while you're looking at Parlay Express in the Action app, be sure to sign up for Action Pro. It's the only way for you to get the best bets at the best prices with immediate notifications when Action experts like Sean Kerner, Jill Gallant post their picks. You can get 20 off right now by using promo code POD20. That's POD20 for $20 off a year of Action Pro. That's going to do it for our NFL Week 2 touchdown show. Many thanks to Sean Kerner and Jill Gallant. If you want to tail some of the touchdown bets, one of the touchdown bets, all the touchdown bets we discussed today, find a quick slip link in the podcast and video description or visit actionnetwork.com/bet now. If you're on X, we have a great new feature. If you see a bet from any of your favorite action experts or anyone on gambling Twitter or anywhere else, you can now tag at Playbook. So Playbook. And tell our bot, it's an AI bot, it'll build you a bet slip at a book of your choice, and it'll build it out for you with a quick slip link that opens right up to that sports book with those bets. So check it out on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. It's Playbook on Twitter/X. And make sure to subscribe to the Action Network podcast so you don't miss an episode all season long. Also, remember, Fantasy Flex podcast, Kerner and I are on that 3 times a week as well. You can find Sean on X at the _oddsmaker, Jill at GDog5000, GDAWG5000, and myself at Chris Raybon. You can find us at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Go download it. Until next time, let's get this money.